History made in Austin. 120th minute winner sends Austin FC into their first ever U.S. Open Cup final, stunning Minnesota United in dramatic fashion. And while the Verde are celebrating one MLS legend, Peter Vermes has reignited the debate about whether or not promotion and relegation would work here in the United States. We break it all down here this morning on Inside the Game.
Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Welcome back to Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. I'm Jonathan Turner. Nate Wangler back in from out west, and our producer Ryan Glinsky joined us this morning on episode number 161. And first off, Nate, we did mention this yesterday on the show, and we did congratulate the Whitecaps, right, in regards to their championship. But man, congratulations to you as the Whitecaps made it home with a championship here yesterday, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever have another team call games for another organization, another unit, another group that will ever touch that one. I don't think I mean, it might happen. You know, it's a long life. There's a lot of things that happen, but you know, they won 96 games this year. The best record in the last 3 decades of minor league baseball. Swept their way through the playoffs, found a way to win games in literally any way humanly possible. And in a world, especially in the baseball world, where the most important thing is getting yourself promoted to the next level, and we all understand that that's the most important thing. That's why we're here. You know, you want to get up the levels, you want to go to Detroit, and you want to play. It still matters to have team dynamics. It still matters to prioritize winning, even at the lower levels. And I think if you were to ask me what's the one biggest change that we've seen in the Tigers since Avila left and Scott Harris came in, it's exactly that. You know, we don't just prioritize winning at the major league level. We prioritize winning everywhere. And you can do both. You can develop good players and win ball games at the same time. That's something that's possible. We've seen the Dodgers do it for years. We've seen all these the Astros. We've seen the Rays do it. But for whatever reason, we couldn't figure out a way to do that here. But now we're doing it. And it's because there is a shared vision. It's because winning is a priority. And, you know, we lost our top 100 prospects, 3 of them in the first half. They all got promoted. And yet they had a better second half record than what they did in the first half. Went on to win a championship with a group of, in a lot of ways, players who are who's of who knows, you know, but we were able to. Yeah, there was never a doubt in my mind that, honest with you boys, I didn't want to spend another night in Iowa anyways. I was good with one night and the staying next to the Quaker Oats factory there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was good to get out of there after one night. I was fine, but there was a certain level of supreme confidence, and you know, you're lucky if you get one championship, one or 2 championships that you're a part of. You know, as team media. In a career. A lot of people never get that opportunity. So yeah, I lived it up, and I'm running at about 65% capacity right now, but you know, we're doing all right. We're living, we're doing our thing, but I'm going to miss it. But yeah, as long as I do this job, I don't know if I'm going to have any team that comes even relatively close to what that unit was in 25. So the Tigers are onto something. Scott Harris is onto something. So I know we're all Detroit guys here. So you gotta believe it. You gotta buy into it.
No, I think it's great, and I don't know if I would. I can probably understand your sentiment, right? Because you followed this team and you were part of it for the last 8 months, give or take, and so I'm hopeful that it's not the only one. But I can also understand it, right? But I mean, hey,
it's a long
reality
life.
is you got to be a part of something really special. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that I think regardless of whether or not you're an equipment manager, you're a coach, you're an assistant, you are the ticket, person who's in charge of security. I mean, all the people who come into these environments who are there every single night in, night out, they all feel that they're part of that, and that's really cool.
Yeah. And when you get to see him in the show a few years down the line, there's no bigger pleasure than that. I mean, that's my favorite part about all this. I mean, you even look at the Tigers. I mean, hello.
What is that?
But is someone getting a phone call?
I think it has something to do with the TikTok Live, because every time it says like it couldn't connect or something, that thing goes off. I don't know how to mute it, but I think that's what it was, because it was lagging for a second, and that's what it did.
That's weird. Anyways, yes. By the way, we are again. Our full broadcast is everywhere today, as it was yesterday. We're on TikTok Live, full broadcast. So what you're seeing on YouTube and on Roku and Facebook and Twitter is the same thing that you're able to watch on TikTok. So we're able to do that. It was something that we put a lot of time and effort into getting done. We finally got it done. Obviously, also available on Instagram as well. And so we have really kind of upped it along with where we are on Roku. So this has been really kind of the fun aspect of this. I will say this, though, about our current platform. We are going to be moving away from everything and be very, very strategic about that. So right now, we are everywhere. But in the future, I don't know if everywhere is where we are going to be. So just understand that from the standpoint of what we're trying to accomplish, because we want people to come to our Roku TV channel. We want them to come to our platforms, but at the same time, are we getting the viewership that we want in all the places, or is it we're spreading ourselves thin? So it's one of those questions we have to ask ourselves internally, but we'll continue to create great content regardless. We have a great show this morning lined up. All right, yesterday we talked about the U.S. Open Cup here the last two nights. Right, we saw what happened on Wednesday night. Sorry, on Tuesday night. Well, with that matchup between the Philadelphia Union and Nashville. Nashville coming away with that victory in that game. They ended up winning 3-1 on Tuesday night. And then last night we saw Austin FC go into Minnesota and send them home in the 120th minute. We'll get into that here on the other side of our first break. We'll also dive into Peter Vermees. He had a chance to say something here during the North American Soccer Expo that made some news, and we'll dive into what he says about promotion relegation. And we'll also, Rochester Christian University yesterday, they had a game on our network. We'll dive into some of the highlights as well. So a good show coming up here this morning on number 161. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the National Soccer Network.
Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins NLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Welcome back into Inside the Game this morning on this Thursday morning, the 18th of September. That's Nate Wangler. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Ryan Glinsky, our producer. And before we dive into U.S. Open Cup, my daughter, love my daughter Zoe, love all my kids, love Zoe too. And
She spent $200 on Clash Royale.
She did not. She did not. But a couple days ago, she went to, my wife took her to the eye doctor. She'd been complaining about her eyes. And she had found out that she's got astigmatism and she's got to wear glasses when she goes to school. And so she was a little concerned, even though she's been talking about how cool it is to wear glasses for a little bit. She's like, now that it's actually a real thing, she's got to wear them when she goes to school. My wife was saying she put the glasses on yesterday when she got home, and I wasn't there for this. And she goes, "Oh, wow, this is what it's like to see." It's like,
So,
I was like, wow. Again, not knowing that this was, because, sometimes kids are kind of like, is it real? Can you really not see? And you might say you shouldn't be doubting your children, but to be fair, sometimes you don't
just
know
get
what's
used
up with
to seeing a certain way. Yeah, you just get used to seeing a certain way, not being able to see. You get used to it. But anyways.
Right. So anyways, she comes up to me after all this and she shows me these glasses, and they're Ray-Ban glasses, but it's the only thing they offered at the place we got the glasses. And so it's like, it's either that or like Oakley's or, way even more expensive types things. But she brings over to me this piece of paper. And she's like, "Dad, can I have 5 minutes of your time?" I go, "Baby girl, I got 7 minutes for you." So, it's just in joking fashion. And she starts talking about this is an American history class she's taking in school. And she's like, "I was asked to rate ourselves based on how the Constitution was written." I'm okay, cool. So she starts going. She's like, "Okay, so for the preamble, D-. For this, like C-, for this, B-. And she gets down to like tranquility and safe and whatever, and she's like F-. I go, "I don't think they even have F-'s, baby girl.
it's just an F.
Just an F. I don't think it goes any further than F." But
That's just
she's like,
adding
F-.
insult to injury to throw the minus
I know,
on
right?
there.
So everything that she's rating our country, and my daughter she's 12, be 13 in February. She's rating everything about the United States as below like a C. Wow. Now this is my daughter. She's 12 years old. And so I asked her, I go, why are you being so harsh? I go, obviously there are things that we're doing but that maybe aren't the best, but why are we so harsh? And she's like, "Well, Dad, there's nothing I can say that's really good." And I go, wow. Now this is, again, my daughter's a pretty astute. You've all met my daughter. She's a smart kid, and so it's one of those things where I'm like, man, it kind of hit me a little bit. I'm like, geez, that's what my 12-year-old daughter thinks of America.
Yeah.
And so I just I had to say, like, that from a parent standpoint, I wanted to kind of pick her brain a little bit to the why, because my daughter sees things, and like we do, right? We go on social media, we go on TikTok, we see these videos, we see things that are happening around us, and a lot of times it's not good stuff, right? A lot of times it's the bad stuff that we tend up seeing, right? Hits us, and I go, but I look at her, I go, "Baby girl," I'm like, "Zoe," I'm like, take out the world for a second and just your world, your small world, which is your school, your classmates, your home, your friends. I go, "Is there anything within that world that are any of the things that you're describing?" She's like, "No, Dad." I go, "Well, yeah, that is what the Constitution was for. Like that, right? If we think about the United States, right? Yes, it's a massive place, but if you think about it from the perspective of your neighborhood, your world, a lot of these things don't impact you. They impact other people in their world. And it absolutely has an impact, and we should be thinking about that. But I'm looking at it from your perspective, and I was trying to just pick her brain about that a little bit. And I'm not saying that we don't think about the other world. I'm just saying, but from your world, your small world, is it those things? And she's like, "No, it's not." If we all, start to ask ourselves those questions, maybe we wouldn't be giving America the F that my daughter, F- that my daughter is giving it. So, but because we're talking about the U.S. Open Cup this morning, right? And transition into that now. And we talk about the excitement that's happening in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. this game taking place last night in Minnesota, and Minnesota was the home team. And, we took some heat here. We took some heat. Well, specifically Ryan, because I had nothing to do with it. But Ryan took some heat because when we were doing our weekly recap on the MLS here on Monday, right? First off, I don't know if he's clapping in.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
He's happy.
The fan base lost. Oh, I can go back to myself. Minnesota, what happened? I made a video specifically for you. You got mad at me, and then you lose. And
we both picked you to win.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's important.
I picked you.
We picked you to win.
What happened? Yeah, that's why Minnesota hasn't won anything in like 70 years. All right? That's why. 'Cause you can't win when it matters most.
Yeah.
There will be a video about this later today.
Get him.
Ryan is getting in it, man. I love it.
Get
I
up.
love it.
I have never cared for the state of Minnesota until the fan base got mad at me. All right? Never once did I care. Don't care about the Twins. The Vikings, well, the Lions own you. The Wild, I don't even watch hockey. And they don't have basketball. Oh, the Timberwolves. I do like Anthony Edwards. I will say that. I do like Anthony Edwards. I think he's a baller. And Minnesota University sucks. All right? Not once did I care about you guys. Now I do. And you lost. At home. Did they lose at home? No, I don't know. I don't think they lost at home.
They lost
but
at
you
home.
suck.
They
You
lost at
suck.
home.
And you're not
Yeah.
going to win the MLS Cup either. So this is why your city doesn't win anything. Sorry.
This was a home game. by the
Wow.
way.
Oh, and a
Wow.
home game?
Yeah, it was a home game.
And you lost at home? And you outshot them? And you couldn't score? And you were mad at me that I said that the San Diego outplayed you. You got mad at that too, but you outshot them. Austin here. Interesting. I can't wait for this video. Continue, guys. I need to rant. You missed a lot, Nate.
No, I'm picking up on that now. No, they got a few good things. They got cool hairdos in high school hockey. High school hockey is really good in Minnesota. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, I mean, what does Minnesota have? Do they
It's
like
really
make
cold
syrup
there in
out
the
there or
winter.
something? It is cold. It's very cold.
It is
I'll give you that.
unbelievably cold there in the winter. I've been in Minnesota
Yeah.
now twice
Yeah.
in my life, and I have nothing but great things to say about the state of Minnesota, except for how cold it gets in the winter. I think you guys need to figure that out. But aside from that, I don't know if I clearly Ryan struck a struck a nerve. With Ryan, but again, hey, you know what? When you are gonna put yourself out there, it's like you can't go out there and do the guaranteed. Okay, you can't do that. If anyone remembers the guaranteed, Rasheed Wallace would go out there and guarantee victories. And when you do that, what happens when you lose? You get egg in your face. And so I think that's what Ryan. Now, I don't think the fan base was like, we're going to guarantee a win, but I'm fairly certain that with the sentiment that they were going down was like, hey, you're not giving us enough credit for who we are. Absolutely last night, they have egg on their face from that victory. So
If we have time for mailbag, I'll read a couple comments.
boom. So Den, Grumpy Old Men was filmed in Minnesota, by the way. I didn't know that. Did anyone else know that, by the way? Is Den
Nope.
Den hopping in the comments
Grumpy
on
Old
TikTok?
Men.
So I did not know it was filmed there. It makes sense though, because clearly they are grumpy there in Minnesota. But with that being said, so let's talk about this game a little bit. The final score was 2-1 here in favor of Austin. It did go to extra time. So based on my prediction of it happening and going into extra time, that part was true. The rest didn't matter. So here's what happened. So Austin scored. Osman Bukhari scored in the 45th in stoppage time. Minnesota, Joaquin Pereira in the 68th. And then Austin scored in the 120th. CJ Fadri scored that goal. This final matchup will take place here between between Nashville and Austin here on October 1st in Austin at Q2 Stadium. Why are you laughing so hard?
So, you know Mech Jack yesterday that was in the chat?
Yes.
Talking about us all the time? So he just commented 4 minutes ago and said, well, last night was a real bummer. Yes, it was, Mech Jack. Yes, it was. And you're one of the people that were like, you know what? You know, we play a simple brand. You don't watch us play. I watch your videos and laugh because you don't watch us play. Yeah, good. That's why I don't watch you play, because I don't watch losers.
Ooh.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. No more Minnesota United talk for me. Let's get the show on the road.
My man
show's
woke
already on
up
the
and
road,
chose
my guy.
violence today. Ryan woke up and
Let's
chose
continue to get it
violence.
going.
I think again,
man.
Ryan feels like a personal attack here was done on him in regards to Minnesota.
It all
feel like we
started
need
with
to
the
just let
MLS
him-
recap video, and I didn't include them because there was other storylines that were way cooler. And then I was like, you know what? Let's give them some love. And then they were like, yada, yada, yada. MechJack in the TikTok live chat. He should have gotten a red card and not been on the field to score. I mean, I didn't watch the game, so that's why I don't watch you guys. You guys lose. So, yeah.
They are
I
currently,
watched-
they're currently fourth in like the
You know
MLS.
what I watch? You know what I watch? You know what I watch? The West Michigan Whitecaps, because they win
Hell
championships.
yeah.
That's
Hell
why.
yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. You know what? And I'll do you one better. When you guarantee a win, sometimes it works out. All right. Hey, Joe Namath. All right. Do we know that story? You don't know that. There's no way you know that story, Ryan. Joe Namath,
In the Super Bowl?
Jets, Super Bowl. Do you know it?
Yes.
Super Bowl II?
Respect, dude. Respect.
Yeah, the Jets, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Super
ball.
Bowl I? I don't know. It's
I was-
something like
I
that.
know, I think
yeah.
so.
No, you're the man. That's
Yeah.
hey, that's impressive. And then none of our players knew that story. But one of our guys, when we were warming up for the game for the Caps, goes, "Tonight's the last night of the season." He told the media that. He's like, "Yeah, tonight's the last night." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." He was right.
I think our young one here, young one Ryan.
He's an old one on the inside though.
Little bear.
He
over
knows his
here.
stuff.
He is, maybe a little misguided here this morning. A little angry about Minnesota. Hey, to the Minnesota fan base. I stand
You're
with
playing
Ryan.
peacekeeper right now.
There's actually so many comments we can get into.
But I think that I think that like anything else, I think here's the thing, right? And the cool thing about social media is we can have these back and forths. There's no ill will there. I think we just have some fun. Hey, at the end of the day, your team didn't win last night. You can argue about the results and how it went down. The final score is what the final score is. And you had a chance to make some history, and you fell short. And so clearly you struck a chord with Ryan and a nerve But hey, the U.S. Open Cup final will take place October the 1st and that's at Q2 Stadium in Austin. It'll be between Nashville and Austin FC. Obviously, we'll continue to have coverage about that as we get closer to October. But keep your comments coming. Love them. The more comments, the better, and that allows us to have some fun and chuckle here on the air every single day.
Yeah, let me just add one more thing. MechJack in the chat as well says we are still chasing 2 trophies.
It's true.
When has Minnesota won something?
My guy.
I don't know when.
I mean,
I don't know when.
Maybe again, we talk about
Hey,
this
man.
a lot though on the show. We've talked
yeah.
about the U.S. Open Cup a lot and how you don't put necessarily your best team out there. I don't know whether
I'm
or
talking
not.
about I'm talking about the state.
He's
What,
talking
is
about the
Minnesota
state of
ever won?
Minnesota, I think.
Well, didn't like half of
I mean,
like, the
they
men's
got
US
good
hockey
college
team in
hockey,
1980
man.
come from Minnesota.
They got good college. I mean, that's probably the
Yeah,
best.
Minnesota
states in the
hockey has been
union for
fantastic.
hockey. I'm just saying. Now the Wild are not good. The Wild have been
No.
bad for a while, but they do produce a lot of hockey
hey,
players.
Mighty
We'll say that.
Ducks. Okay, they won.
Hold on.
The Mighty Ducks won. All right, I'm going to say that
The
right
Flying
now.
V.
They won. All right, they won not only in the international games against who'd they play against? Iceland. All right, they
think
also
so.
won against Coach Bombay. What was their team that they had? What was the name of that team in there? The first movie. Gosh, it was what's the name of that team? I'm drawing a blank on it. Somebody's got to Google it.
What do I
but,
need to search up?
Mighty Ducks won, like the first Mighty Ducks. Who'd they play in the finals? I forgot what they called themselves. I bet you McJack knows.
So, sorry, MechJack. My apologies. Your WNBA team won a championship in 2017. Your
Hey.
USLW Minnesota Aurora FC won a title
Aurora.
last year. And
No, Minnesota Aurora has never won it.
that's what ChatGPT says.
Minnesota Aurora has never won the USLW championship. Minnesota Aurora has
Oh, would
won
you
their
look at
league,
that?
and they've gone all the way to a final, but they have never won it.
Gotcha. I don't watch the WNBA. So,
It's USLW. We covered the national finals. They actually made their way to a semifinal this year, where they lost to the eventual winners in Utah, and so.
hey, shout out MechJack though.
Yeah.
He sent like 10 chats today.
But
shout out MechJack.
Aurora is fantastic. Great organization. I mean, they've only been around for like 3 years, so they've done a fantastic job. And in all 3 years, they've been in the hunt to win. I mean, we watched them play And again, we were part of those productions this summer, so it was really cool. They played.
Shout out to them. Shout out to Aurora and the Lynx. Shout out to them.
Yeah, the women in Minnesota crush. Have you heard of Frost? Like Jack Frost, like the movie? I don't know. Question, real quick though. Did we figure out who they played?
Oh, the Mighty Ducks. Who did the Mighty Ducks
beat
Wasn't
in
that
the first movie?
in the
I'm just trying to blank on the
movie?
Yeah, it's like
The Hawks?
yes, the Hawks. There it is, the Hawks. Okay, they beat the Hawks. They beat Iceland, and then they beat the varsity team in the third one.
A question from Den in the TikTok chat says, "What do you lads know about DeMarcus Beasley's Fort Wayne FC? Do you guys know anything about that?"
Yeah, I mean they
We
first
know a
off,
little
they
bit about
played-
Fort Wayne.
Yeah, Fort Wayne beat Midwest
yeah.
United in the USL League Two conference semifinals. Right here, we actually covered that game on the platform, and then they ended up losing to Flint in that final before they went on to a semifinal. They're
Their
very
fan base
good.
was cool though.
Huh?
They had like their fan base was cool though. They had that
They
like,
had that
watch
really cool,
party at
really cool
the
fan
bar
base.
in
They had
Fort
a
Wayne.
great bar and grill.
I forget
down
where
in Fort
the
Wayne.
yeah that was really cool. So
And
that's a great
Mac-
bunch.
Jack said in the TikTok chat, "No, the professional women's hockey team, back-to-back champions. That is the Frost. So they're very good at hockey."
Okay.
But if you're finding, if you're seeing a trend within Minnesota of things that are related to the cold,
Yes.
frost,
Yes.
right?
Ice.
And their women's teams are great.
Maybe if you've maybe named your teams more on the warmer side, they wouldn't hit cold streaks that would end in losses. And, maybe go warmer. Maybe maybe this could.
I don't think they can help that.
Like the Minnesota thaw.
The Minnesota Heat. Minnesota Tropics.
Yes.
It's like the Flint Tropics.
Yes, that's a
Jackie
great.
Moon.
There we
That's a
go.
great idea.
Minnesota Tropics.
It's a great idea. Hey, the U.S. Open Cup. We're on to the finals now. They should have a third. You think they should have like a third place game with these things? You maybe do like a third placer and then have Minnesota go against Philadelphia and watch that loss. Just all kidding aside. Hey, when we come back here, we're going to dive into Peter Vermees' comments. Hey, a former MLS coach and player. He is still. We're still talking about pro relegation in this country. I'm sick and tired of it, but we're going to keep doing it anyways. Why not, right? You're watching episode number 161 here on this Thursday morning.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game on this Thursday morning. Jonathan Turner alongside Nate Wengler, Ryan Glinsky. Yes, we are not bitter about Minnesota losing last night. Ryan might be. I am very optimistic about this. I mean, hey, Ryan, we're gonna get this message to you. Now that you're in the media and you have opinions, people are gonna attack you for it, and so you have to get some thicker skin, my guy.
Oh,
I get some thicker skin.
That's fine. It's
he's just going off. He's just having his moment. I get it, man.
Hey, if they keep
That's the nice thing about being in this chair.
Sometimes I'm fine.
Hey, sometimes being in this chair, sometimes you look like an idiot, but sometimes you're right. So you gotta take your opportunities to take your shots. I respect it.
It's not like you said high energy motorboat one day, and you're all good, dude. You know?
I will say this though. I literally picked Minnesota to win yesterday. So
yeah.
Well, we both did. We both did.
Yeah, so. Shout out to Minnesota. Shout out to the Minnesota United. You guys have a really good fan base. I will say that. You guys are a very passionate fan base. Like you guys, but if you lose, I'm going to talk about it. So
fair enough.
All right.
Let's dive into this Peter Vermees conversation. He was at the North American Soccer Expo. We didn't have a chance to sit down with him just due to timing, but he did have a chance to sit down with some other organizations. Former Sporting KC and U.S. men's national team forward Peter Vermees was asked about potential pro rel in MLS. Vermees said you go to an owner who spent $500 million for a franchise fee and another $5 million into a stadium. Let's say he's $1.2 billion in debt. And what you're going to tell him is a year from now he can be relegated to the second division. How do you do that? You can't do it. Sometimes we just have to be willing to accept who we are. Our country and the sports industry is based on playoffs. That's who we are. Again, to be fair, his point is exactly what we've been talking about this entire time, which is the MLS, I'm not talking about other leagues. Okay, but the MLS, which has been around for 30 years now, the MLS, you have owners who are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into their teams. And to now go from the MLS to whatever Division II would look like, and again, we don't necessarily, in this country, Division II, it goes MLS, then USL Championship, and then League One. And then there is the USL2, USLW, all of that kind of fits into, it starts to get kind of messy and chaotic at that point in time. So you're going to sit here and tell me that Minnesota, if they were to lose the entire season and finish last, would now have to go to the championship? Like, what fan base would want that? I'm asking Meg Jack right now on TikTok, if you're watching this, is that something that you would approve of as a fan? It sounds great when you're in the USL Championship to go up. Okay, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go to the MLS. But as a fan who sits in that stadium every single time there's a game with the crowd that you're in, are you telling me that your fan base would accept relegation as an option in the MLS? I'm curious his thoughts, and I'm curious everyone else's thoughts. Because that's what we're talking about here. Take the emotion out of it for a second. Take all the other stuff out of it for a moment and just think about that. You're sitting in a game in Columbus at Laura.com field right now, and you play New York City FC, right? You play them on a regular basis. You lose, and you're now downgraded to the USL Championship. And now you're going to go play the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That's who you're going to go play. And you're telling me that your fan base is going to keep coming back for more games against Tampa Bay and the likes of Orange County FC and you're talking about Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I mean, you're telling me that your fan base is going to get excited about. They're not coming to those games now when they play in the U.S. Open Cup. So you think they're going to show up for these games? I'm curious your thoughts on that. And I don't know if there's any comments have come in. I know, Nate, you have an opinion about this, but I'm curious what our fans, but people who are watching this right now, what their thoughts are and opinions about this conversation, because that's the reality.
Yeah. We're too far down the line, financially speaking. And I think that's the most important thing of what he said in that quote. And I did get an opportunity to actually see that and really kind of digest what it was that he was trying to say. And I think that part of it is that there's just too much money flying around, because you can quite literally, I mean, if they're spending that much on a team and on a franchise, if they, let's say they get really cold over the course of a couple of years, if they get sent down, that's not just a, we got to play at this lower level. I mean, you might quite literally tank that team and that organization. There's too much money. There's too much in the way of investments in the MLS. It's just too much to where logistically, I just don't think it would work. And the other thing we talked about is obviously landmass and all the other stuff that has to line up in order to make that possible for these lower level squads. But we're just too far down the line. And when you look at Europe, yes, they have a system of promotion and relegation, but they also have had that system for how long? I mean, really, since the beginning, there has been a system of promotion and relegation. We've only had the MLS for 30 years. Really, professional soccer in this country for 3 decades. That's it. I mean, to put that in perspective, the last time, there's a lot of different ways we can go with this. But that's the part to me that just doesn't promote in any way, literally and figuratively, having this model work in the United States. It just doesn't work out. I think we're living in a fantasy land. I think if we had the deep, illustrious, colorful history that they have in this sport over in Europe, and we've had it since the beginning, then yeah, you figure out a way to make it work. But soccer, I'm not saying it's brand new in the United States, but we've only had the MLS for 30 years. And now with the amount of money that's flying around, even if you were able to come up with a system, you're telling me you're going to be able to go to a group of owners and pitch this to them, and they're going to agree to it. And I also love the part of the conversation where he said we have to accept who we are. I think that's the hardest thing for American soccer fans because they don't really respect the brand of American soccer. There's just a lot of fans of this sport that don't. And I think that's the hardest thing. We have to accept who we are. It is built off playoffs. We do have a closed league system for all of our leagues. The NBA you can't just get into. It's not promotion relegation. Major League Baseball, the NHL, these are not pro-rel leagues. We have to accept who we are. And that's something that I think it's just really hard for a lot of people.
Comments coming in still on TikTok, and one of the comments was about not having billionaires buy teams. And the way the expansion system is right now. For someone that covers everything from youth soccer all the way up to the professional ranks, the only thing that matters in getting teams to go from one level to the next is money.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about how great your fan base is. We can talk about how great, people are, the team might be. But if you have no money, you can't do anything. And so that becomes the fundamental problem in all of this. Yes, in a world where money didn't matter and all that mattered was fantasy success, we would not be having this conversation right now, but we don't live in like Candyland.
Yes.
We live in the real world, and the real world, in order to put the stadium that's in place in Minnesota right now, the one that you are a fan of, by the way, and at the same time, you're asking that the teams don't need the money. Well, where did the Minnesota United come from? They were an expansion team that came out in the last 5 years, right? The last 6 years? And an expansion team that had to get a $1 billion investor in order to make this happen. So on the same moment, you're talking about how it's not great how the expansion system works. You're a recipient of the expansion process.
Yeah.
And so while I think it would be great to have this hierarchy of and a clear understanding of the pyramid here in the United States, which we still, to be fair, if you were to ask 10 soccer fans the pyramid and how the hierarchy of soccer was, you would get 10 different answers, right? So I think that's also a problem, a fundamental problem. If we talk about pro relegation, it cannot happen in its current system, period. There's no money at the lower ends to be able to support it. And as much money as the MLS is supposedly making, they don't have the money to support that either. They don't have the money. There's not because again, in order for pro rel to have to happen, you would have to, the league itself, MLS, would have to be the one to handle the money aspect of this. They would have to support it because the team that goes down from the MLS, they're probably fine. But the team coming up from the USL Championship or for whatever other league we have that would be there, well, then they now have to step up and do they have to increase their salary. All these things have to increase. And so their travel budget, all these things have to come up. And now what happens?
Yeah. It's no different, JT, in my mind, than a Division II school going to a Division I school here in the United States, or any other sort of promotion or bump up. I think about this all the time with, we have Grand Valley State here in Allendale. I mean, notoriously, they run the table in every sport ever. To go from Division II to Division I, the amount of money you have to spend on facilities, the amount of money you have to spend on additional staff, upgrades, all of these other things, almost makes it not worth it. Yeah, could they make that leap? Sure, but immediately. But you have time to plan something like that. Like, if you're going to take that leap from one level to the next, that's a few years down the line. Promotion and relegation, I mean, you're there. Like, it's not like you have a ton of time to plan that out. You just do really well, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah. So the money thing, it sucks to just say money, because I feel like sometimes that cuts the conversation short. If you're like, there's just not enough money, you're like, okay, well then, whatever. Yeah, but that's exactly it. In a perfect world, in a fantasy world where currency does not matter, yeah, we could create a system like that, because we like understories, right? We're underdog stories. We're Americans. Like, that's something that I think we all like. I mean, every single hero story has an underdog and a villain, but it doesn't work logistically in my mind.
Yeah. By the way, I want to stand correct. Minnesota United, they joined the MLS in 2017.
Shout out McJack.
And they were originally formed, though, in 2010. They were called the NSC Minnesota. Played its first season in the USF Division II Professional League. What was that? Even the internet doesn't know what league they played in. They rebranded as the Minnesota Stars FC and playing in the North American, so NASL, which the NASL now, and then they won that championship, and then 2017 they were awarded a franchise in Major League Soccer.
So I will say this though about the whole promotion relegation system. If you look over in Europe, Mac Jack and I were having a little chat in the TikTok chat about, teams like Schalke and his favorite team, Stuttgart. They get all this money, when they go into the Bundesliga, which is Germany, and then you look at, teams like Luton Town that go into the Premier League. They gain a ton of money, but at the same time, they get relegated, they lose a ton of money. So you're losing a ton of, even if you're, let's say, Detroit City FC, for example, because they're local, they get promoted into the MLS, and they're going to make a ton of money. However, the players know, because there's clauses in the managers, there's clauses in their contract where if they go down a level, they lose money. And that's kind of the whole thing is when a team goes down in Europe, they lose a ton of money, and they all know that. So again, if you're an owner like that, you can do this clauses in your contracts. You'll have to lose staff. Like, everyone knows in Europe that if you go down a division or if you go down a league, you get relegated regardless of whatever league that you go down to, whether it's 3, 4, 5, non-league, anything like that, you do lose money. And to say that, like, you put $1 billion up just to qualify to get into the MLS, again, we should stop expanding the league to begin with. Let's be real. We have to stop expanding it. And if we want this to happen as Americans, but it's not going to happen, we can't do promotion, relegation in the NBA, anything else like that. But everyone knows in Europe that if you go down, you lose money. And everyone knows what they signed up for. But we are too far down the line in order for us to implement this. We just are.
No, I think it's great. And to be fair, if we look at in other sports, obviously in other sports like baseball, they have a tremendous semi-professional environment. But to be fair, a lot of those are owned by the major baseball team, right? And so
they're under
they already own it. So in the promotion relegation standpoint, I mean, realistically in baseball, you could probably do it, right? It'd be kind of like this thing where I already own it anyways. It's like, it's like, just move them to your big stadium. Yeah, we're gonna move Grand Rapids to Detroit. We're gonna send Detroit down to Grand Rapids. I mean, that's what would end up happening. Because you wouldn't make like the Grand West Michigan Whitecaps. You wouldn't make them like the Major League Baseball team. You would just send them to Detroit. They play there. I mean,
yep.
That's right. The Whitecaps are now the Detroit Whitecaps. You just change it up, man. And there
World
you go.
Series champs. Does the
But again,
broadcaster go
they're
with
all
them or
like
no?
feeder. They're all feeder teams into these environments. Across the pond in Europe, I mean, yeah, you might have some players on loan, but those teams, for the most part, are not owned by the big team. Right? They're not. They're all owned by a separate organization. It's different.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
communities. As Ryan has alluded to. Hey, the pro roll conversation is something that we'll continue to talk about because I know with this whole new thing with the USL and their new Division I league, they talked about that. But to be fair, they have that system in place. And if you were to say the MLS could with MLS Next Pro start to offer that, but again, that wouldn't be the same thing. Columbus Crew 2 would just be considered, okay, they just put the 2 there, but it would legitimately be the same players that play on that MLS side. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it wouldn't work. And I don't mean to be disingenuous, but we are a playoff hungry country. We are a country built on all-star games. We're a country built on the entertainment aspect of this, which
Stars.
the other countries and other places around the world don't care about. I mean, there's entertainment value in these games, but the entertainment comes what happens on the pitch, not what happens outside the pitch, which we focus a lot on in our environments here in the U.S. We're just different, and I think we need to start accepting that.
I think it's okay. Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's okay. It's okay to be a little different. It's okay to do things a little differently. Like, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's the part that we have to get over that hump. I feel like if we get past that, we're going to be able to do some pretty great things and continue to grow the sport, which obviously it is growing. But like that's the part right there. Like we let everything. We look at the product that they have over in Europe and we're like, it's so pure, it's so perfect. This is exactly what we need here, without actually thinking about logistically about what this country is and what they like and what they buy into. And obviously Peter Vermees has a much better understanding of that than old Nate Wangler does. But no, I agree with that 100%.
So I do want to get this coming in from the TikTok check. From MechJack. He says, so again, when he said D1, I immediately think of collegiate athletics here, but he's saying the Tier 1, Division 1 in American soccer should be 18 teams. Division 2 should be 2 18-team leagues, so an East and West Conference that are Division 2. And then Division 3 is 4 leagues of 18 teams. He says lots of room for teams, solves travel problems. And then he goes on to mention that the EFL, the English Football League, does have promotion playoffs. You can have your playoffs that way. He does have a good point in that because the promotion playoffs and then the championship, that's why they called the EFL championship final the most expensive game in football, because that gets you into the Premier League if you win it.
Yeah, and okay. You would have to go to every team. First off, again, we still don't know what Division 2 is in this country. So explain to me who's in Division 2.
Detroit City FC.
Okay, and so
I mean,
that league
USL
already
championship.
has 28 teams. I think the championship has 28 teams. I could be wrong.
USL too, or USL
Championship. I believe they have 28 teams. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe it's 30. They have at least 14.
Yeah,
in each,
and growing
each
too.
conference.
Yeah.
So okay, so we're saying that's Division 2. So then Division 3 is League 1.
Yeah.
Where does MLS Next Pro fit into there? Are they considered the same as USL Championship? I wouldn't put them there, not yet. So I think that they're still considered Division 2.
Right.
So I
24.
They have 24 teams. So there's 24 teams. So 6 teams from that league would have to disappear. You'd have to have 8 teams from the MLS go down. So you got 8 and 6. So they would.
On paper, it's a good idea, but yeah.
MechJack is saying MLS Pro would be the second division.
Oh. So USL Championship wouldn't even be in the second division.
USL Championship is Division 2 because he said 2 separate leagues, or two East and a West, and he's saying Championship and that USL Championship and Next Pro are the same.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey guys, when Grand Rapids gets a team, they're going to get promoted to the MLS, and I'm going to call it MLS games. You guys can come.
Hey, shout out!
Come on down, hang out. Hey, just saying, it's happening.
We're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to dive. We have some highlights from yesterday's Rochester Christian game, and then we'll get question of the day. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs. From high-quality production to exceptional coverage, we ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today. Call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game here on this Thursday morning. We're live in our Shelby Township studios here as we wave hi, and Nate is out in Grand Rapids. And another shot there. We've got obviously many different angles that we could provide to you at any given time. There you go. But
Here's
there
my big old head.
For the sake,
TikTok, man.
Oh,
for the sake,
pick up the phone.
For the sake of time, we will not continue Pro Rel here today, but maybe tomorrow we just have some time. We will announce our guest lineup for next week. Right now we have 3 guests lined up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, working on Thursday and Friday as we speak.
Yeah, we don't have the Buffalo coach in the graphic, so.
Yeah,
but there is another one. We just confirmed it during the show.
Yeah, we did. That's right. So next week, Monday, we've got Wake Forest women's soccer head coach and joining us, as well as Kevin Boyd from the Milwaukee women's soccer program on Tuesday. We did just confirm Buffalo for Wednesday. Kevin Boyd, his team is in the Horizon League. Wake Forest is in the ACC. So we're excited about that coming up here next week. Hey, yesterday, Rochester Christian had a chance to take on Bethel University, which I know has had a lot of success over the years. Nate, you actually used to do some work for Bethel, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
Right, so let's go ahead and roll some of these. Well, first off, it was 3-1 here in favor of Bethel. So it looked like 3 different goal scorers in that game for Bethel. You had Olivia House, score the goal here in the 15th minute for Rochester Christian. They will play again here on September 20th, opening up their WAC play. But take a look here at some of the highlights from that game.
What a goal.
What a
goal. What a strike.
What a strike from inside the 6.
USA.
But no, that's great. That's at the Washington Township place, not too far from here. It's a good complex. That I would say I've like kind of seen that whole area kind of grow a little bit since I've been playing there. Gosh, I was like a teenager at that point when first started going. That's a nice finish as well into the bottom corner. But it's a good level of soccer being played there.
I've been waiting for Bethel to take off a little bit too, because I know their head coach Jason Freeman. So you're right, JT. I did do most of their home games a season ago. A good friend of mine was good finish off the post. But was the SID there for a little bit. So I ended up going down and doing a lot of their games, and they've been sputtering a little bit. When you get into conference play and the crossroads, I mean, in the NAIA, when you talk about soccer, like they're up there in terms of one of the best conferences. And they've won national championships, but not in the NAIA, in the NCCAA. So that's National Christian Collegiate Athletic Association. So Bethel's in this weird spot because they're small enough to qualify for those playoffs, which if you want to look at it that way, that's kind of like the NIT of the NAIA in terms of tournaments. So they can do that one, but then there's also the NAIA. But then again, you get into conference play and you have to deal with some, some doozies, including Indiana Wesleyan, which you talk about a school with money, they're not struggling for that, and they're always good. So, but yeah, it's cool to see the start they're off to. I haven't gotten the chance to call any of their games this year, but I mean, they returned everybody basically from a season ago, every person. So
yeah, they're 6-0-1,
they did well.
And they are rolling here in the early going. Rochester Christian currently is 4-3 through their first. Again, they open up WAC play this Saturday out at Michigan Stars Sports Complex, where we will have that game along with the men's game as well coming up here on Saturday. Hey, what is our question of the day?
Hey, Ryan, you got to turn your mic on, bro.
Again, this happened again yesterday. The producer audio person muting his mic. That's just not a good look. But Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at NSN. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But again, this comes back to promotion and relegation conversation with the MLS. If promotion and relegation came to the MLS, would old European players like Heung-min Son, Thomas Mueller, Frank Lampard, all those guys, would they still want to come over here in the twilights of their career?
I'll take this one first. Yes. I don't think that these players come here for the MLS. I think they come here because they want to be in America. And so I think they want to be involved here. I think when they saw what happened with Beckham and what he did and even the success he had in the field, but more importantly, what he's been able to do as far as being here in the United States, I think these players would much rather come here. They use soccer as the vehicle to get here, and it allows them to start a family and have family here in the United States. Yeah,
and their price tag is high, and they realize their price tag is high. And when you're going into the final years of your career where you realize, hey, I'm on the downswing now, maybe I can't quite hang in the top leagues the way that I used to. Yeah, you get everything that comes with living in the United States. And we talked about when Messi came over from Argentina, all those different things when he got here to the U.S., realizing just how different things were in this country. That's to your point, JT, that's why they want to come over. But they also realize, again, that with their price tag being as high and with how hungry the MLS is to get superstars, to build the brand, build the league, they're going to get a comfortable contract to go with all that too, right? So you get to be competitive, you still get to play, and you get that much money. And my guess is that, a good portion, if not all that, is guaranteed money. So, even if you get sent down, like the organization owes you that dollar amount. It's not like they can just be like, oh, well, we got, sent down, now we can't pay you. Like, that's not really how the contracts work. So, yeah, a lot of money to be had living in the United States, having a family here. I think all those things make it a league that they want to be a part of. Also, there's a good chance if they're brought over here or someone gets them, probably the team they're on is not going to be sent down. My guess is some of the better franchises are going to be the ones that end up not hogging, but probably being first in line to get these stars, like an LAFC, like a Miami. That's, market size still matters in Major League Soccer. So all that to be said, they're still going to want to come here.
By the way,
hopefully in droves.
Mac Jack, by the way, had a great comment. He goes, this is his answer to this question. Who cares is my answer. Being a retirement league doesn't look good.
It's a good point. It's a fair point. I'll also add this. I've heard
just saying why they would. I'm not saying it's a top league over here. Come on now. But anyways, go ahead.
I'll also add is I know a couple of players have said, I believe Frank Lampard has mentioned it. You look at, if you're in America, you're competing with the likes of the NBA, NHL, MLB, football, and college basketball is another one. And they've mentioned that since, the MLS is not looked at as the best league and not the big sport in soccer here in America, is they like going out in public and no one really recognizing them. They like going to grocery stores and shopping. And I know Messi's a little bit different, but, you're going to a grocery store. You're going to a Dollar General, for crying out loud, and no one knows who you are, but you're this big soccer player. And if you kind of look at the scale of the athlete as well, you look at the NFL guys, you look at NBA guys, they're 6'5" plus. You can kind of tell who a true professional athlete is here in America. Soccer players are typically a little bit smaller. They're not as big, muscular wise, unless you're acting
Hockey
defend
players,
well.
you can never tell they're hockey players.
Exactly.
They just look like
And
someone's dad most of the time.
they could be Frank Lampard could come to your front door and deliver you DoorDash or pizza, and you would have no idea.
Thanks, man.
No way. Like, hey,
Have a good night.
But if Jared Goff or Aiden Hutchinson come up to you and to give you a pizza, you're like, oh my God, that's Jared Goff and Aiden Hutchinson. Like, you know that. So that's another factor that they like. So to John's point, I agree with you about the fact that they like being here in America. And you also build up your brand. There's a lot more brand deals and publicity, yourself that you can do and make more money as well. But I think the big part is not knowing. Like, if Lampard goes to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and, kind of like walks around into your grocery stores or restaurants, no one's going to know who he is.
I would pull a Buddy the Elf, man. I'd be freaking out. Oh, my God.
I would argue that 80% of an NFL roster, people don't know who they are. Maybe 85%.
Oh, that's a good point.
I would say even like go to. I mean, obviously you mentioned hockey players because again they're always wearing their equipment. But I think that outside of Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, J-Mo, maybe Branch.
He's talking about superstars.
Yeah,
though.
I think the
Yeah,
superstar
I mean, that's the
aspect.
difference.
I
but
think
there's
absolutely.
superstars overseas.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
they
exactly
are.
it.
But
yeah.
again, if my question would then would be the ninth player on the roster for Man City. Would that he walks to the grocery store? Do they know who he is?
MechJack goes, I saw Ovi in a Starbucks and I got shy. Hey, Ovi's one of the greatest.
Ovi's, I mean, yeah, he's a
Ever.
goat. So, yeah, I mean,
I
did
would
he
be
break
shy as well.
Gretzky's record?
He does
Didn't
have
break
the
it?
most goals.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Most goals
John,
ever.
to your point, there's a Lion that is way down the depth chart. His name is Duran Gilbert. And he was remember you said you've been to Island Grill, right, in Macomb?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
I saw Duran Gilbert, a Detroit Lions football player, at a restaurant, and I was the only one in the place who I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Duran Gilbert. He's an NFL guy. But no one knew who he was. So to your point, John, you were right on that.
I remember
one
one time I walked into a suite level. Oh, whoops.
No, I was going to say, go ahead, Nate.
Walked into a suite level once. So there was a Clemens that used to play for the Whitecaps. His name was Cody Clemens, son of Roger Clemens, the Rocket.
Used to be a Tiger.
Yeah. Yes. Now he's with the Phils. I believe he's still with the Phils. But walked into a suite level once. There's a big old dude standing by the window watching the game. I thought he was a scout at first. You a scout? He turns around. It's Roger freaking Clemens. God, that was crazy. So I watched a whole half inning of baseball with just Roger Clemens and I in a suite level watching Cody play. So it's weird. It's weird when that happens. But they didn't want anybody to know because they didn't want people to mob him. But, that's just another example of a superstar that would probably get swarmed if people knew he was around. And he did.
We've talked about this, too, when it comes to the MLS, right? There is a serious identity and marketing, branding, shortfall within the MLS because, and again, we probably say that more here because we don't have an MLS team. So I would argue that maybe in Minnesota they probably have a great marketing of their players and who's on their team. But here we don't see anything related to the MLS. So from a marketing standpoint, I don't know if tomorrow I never turned my TV on and I wasn't part of this network, would I even know the MLS even existed? You know what I mean? Like I don't know because I don't see the MLS in my face all the time. But what I do see is college football, NFL. I don't see Major League Baseball. I barely see Major League Baseball too, right? So I barely see the NHL. The only things I'm ever seeing in my face all the time is the NFL, college football. I would actually say that college basketball might be a slightly higher marketing because of March Madness than the NBA. I would argue that from a marketing standpoint, I think they pump more into the world around
NBA
college
has their
basketball these days than they do
superstars.
college and the NBA. I'm just
NBA
I
has
think
their
to the
superstars.
average person. I'm just saying, but
Might be
it
a preference
close.
thing,
I don't
man.
know.
I mean,
I'll
I just
NBA.
don't see it. I'm saying I see all these things. I don't see those.
I'll say this about basketball here. I think the NBA is Adam Silver is looking at it like the way soccer is. I feel like Adam Silver in the NBA is going more towards the world than it is America. Like, you see how many, how the NBA, basketball is the second most popular sport, I believe, in the world behind soccer. That's because, that's why when people, gravitate to whatever team LeBron is, like people like Cleveland, Miami, and LA have mentioned how much more money is pumped into the city because of jersey sales and people just wanting to come to see LeBron. Hotels, restaurants, like there's so many extra things just to see LeBron. That's a real thing. And I think college basketball, I think you do have a point with this. I know the NBA makes so much money, but I think they appeal too much to the world than here in America. College basketball, everyone talks about how that Thursday and Friday of the first 2 rounds, everyone is so dialed in and tuned into it because of how there's like 32 games in the first 2 games or first 2 days. So I think you got a point on that. I think you got a point that the college basketball March Madness, I think it is a little bit more towards the NBA. However, the college basketball regular season is not. But when it comes to March Madness, that is one of the biggest things in the sports, the American sports calendar.
And I would even argue that if you talk about it from the standpoint of the NBA playoffs, does the NBA playoffs supersede that of March Madness?
No.
And so but again, you're talking a lot. So a lot of, but then look at the national championship, right? The last game, right, of March Madness. Is that game going to get more views than that of the NBA Finals? Again, it's one and done. I mean, but is that game going to get more views? I've never looked into it, but I would imagine it's probably that singular game probably beats out any NBA final game. Like, you may combine them all and get there, but I think the singular game versus singular, like a game 7 of the NBA Finals and that one game, my guess is still that college game does way more views.
Well, it all depends, right? Because it is a star-driven league in the National Basketball Association. So you need your stars to be in good spots, right? That's why we talk all the time about, preferential treatment from referees and this, that, and the other thing. So
Ryan got a
when
stat,
you're superstars, he got a stat?
Ryan got a stat.
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't doubt that it's bigger.
I'm just curious. What's your stat, Ryan?
I think we got to do a couple factors into this, but this current year, so I searched up the Florida-Houston game and then Game 7 this year. 18 million to 16 million. March Madness cleared. 18 million to 16 million of Game 7. But I think Nate was kind of on the right track of it. It also depends what NBA franchises are in the finals. Indiana and Oklahoma City small.
Oh, well, yeah, and OKC, okay, OKC is they're the Avengers. They've been great all year. They've been good. Yeah, they got some young. I mean, like, they're an exciting team, but them versus Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton's a cool story, but then obviously his Achilles left the building in Game 7. So automatically, it's like you don't have that star-driven power. This isn't a LeBron and Kyrie versus the evil empire of the Golden State Warriors.
He might have another stat.
So,
oh boy! All right,
so
I hear
went
him back there
again, and I was like, let's go back to an NBA Finals that had some really big implications. I can go back to 2016, but I went back to 2022 with Game 6 between the Warriors and the Celtics. This is big. Steph Curry, he's not the best point guard of all time, but he's one of the best. And then the Celtics, massive fan base. How many views do you think they got in that Game 6?
You said it was 16 for the one.
16,
that,
16 for this past year in Game 7, but this was the final game between a big market.
12 million.
20.
What did Nate say?
20.
20? 14 million.
I split.
Wow.
And the lowest in the last 5 years of March Madness is 14 million in the finals. I'll go back to 2016 and let you know. Give me a second.
And that doesn't include, by the way, just so that does not include all people who are watching it at home with their buddies, right? So he's got one TV on, right? And so I would argue that there's a hell of a lot more people watching these games than we even know, but because people are watching them in bars and all that kind of stuff. But he's got more.
All right, this one I was a little bit right. 31 million for Game 7 between the Warriors and Cavs.
So, I mean, then you add in the elements of the superstars. So, but that's the way the NBA is set up. It's set up around superstars. All of it is star-driven.
And I think there's something to be said, too, right? Because we talk about this all the time. There's a lot of us, and I would probably argue that between 40 and 60% of the American fan wants to see an underdog win. I think somewhere between that number, if you're telling me that who's playing today, if you're okay, it's I don't know, pick a team from this past year, like Oak University versus Kentucky, right? I think the fan base of Kentucky wants Kentucky to win, but if you're putting those two teams up on primetime TV, I would argue that between 40 and 60% of the viewer wants to see the underdog win. I think that's kind of the world we live in today. Is you want to see that team who might not have a chance go out there and win that game. So maybe I'm giving that a little bit of a higher percentage than I should be, but I feel like that 40 to 60% is a pretty place to be.
I think people like just seeing crazy stuff and crazy endings. I mean, whoever wins, they're just picking teams based off colors.
But by the way, we have Mike Jack goes, I don't care about underdogs when my team is out. I check out. That's fair.
That's a good point. Well, that Oakland game got 6 million views, by the way.
Yeah. No joke.
It's impressive.
Don't doubt it.
Impressive.
Don't doubt it.
Hey, we are over by a substantial amount this morning, by 10 minutes. But we had a great conversation. We were actually really doing well. We were on time. We came in with our question of the day at 9:55, and then somehow this whole conversation, which was led by our question of the day, let us go over. So
great show, though.
We'll blame Ryan for that, though.
That's fine.
I'm just.
I'll take the blame.
Meg Jack says he checked out as soon as we started talking about anything beside Pro Rel. He said I can talk Pro Rel all day long. So in that,
talk a little hoops.
Yeah, little hoops. We'll have to dive into some other things. Hey, that wraps up our show here this morning on Thursday. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for episode number 162. Again, we've got a great lineup of guests. We'll talk about that here tomorrow. We'll dive into the MLS weekend ahead. We'll look into what's going on this weekend with all of that and more. So don't go anywhere. You can watch us on all all watching platforms, really. I mean, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and our Roku TV channel as well. So if you haven't downloaded us on Roku, you can absolutely do that by going to Roku, download the NSN app, and you can watch us right there on your TV every single day as we have new shows Monday through Friday in all of our games. Absolutely here on the weekends. That'll wrap it up here on this Thursday morning. That's Nate Wengler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. I'm Jonathan Turner. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for number 162 right here on the National Soccer Network. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wengler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.